There's these transition moments in your life, in my life, in our lives, that like make all the difference. The world will tell us that we can't do it. We shouldn't do it. It doesn't make sense to do it. And not only the world, but the elements in the world and the insects of the world. That company, there's a long story, someday I'll tell you. That company, ADT and First Line, got into a problem. And I have a $292,000 check that I'd earned for that year. It was like my final check for that year, the year I made 400 grand. And that check, the company, ADT, came in and exercised a lien. And so it froze up all the assets of the company. And so I lost that $292,000 check. And I was the top guy. There's 2,000 sales leader. My specialty has always been in leadership, leading from the front, and also helping to duplicate myself to like help others. And so I had an incredible team of managers, the leaders that I built, recruited over those years. And I was left with the news and the reality that the check was printed, it was made because it was about to be given, but ADT came in and seized, and that's a whole other story. Fast forward for a second, I'll come back, but First Line beat ADT in court 7 years later. It was all a big joke. ADT was just playing like, if you don't do what we say you do, they're the $1 billion big company, then and they did. They exercised that, but they were unjust, it was wrong, and First Line beat them in court. I ended up getting 17 cents on the dollar. 10 years later, beat him in court 7 years, took 3 more years for all the payments to go out. And I'll just never forget, because of the learning from principles like Think and Grow Rich, that every failure brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. And I remember thinking, I'm 26 years old, I just lost more than $250,000. Wow. And I'm honest to God. I'm not sharing this with you I wish for the story's sake, it'd be better if I was different, but like, honest to God, I'm just like, wow, what an opportunity. Because I knew part of what got that success was knowing that every rejection, talking about getting rejected, door-to-door sales and leading teams and like trying to hire people to sell for you for free without like any guarantee, like to go door-to-door, it's not necessarily the easiest sell. And then doing that door-to-door, when people don't want you there, they don't like you, they don't trust you, and you gotta like immediately be able to connect with them and build that rapport. Like, how do you do it? It's almost an impossible feat. And so those lessons learned, I believed that was like I'm gonna be living a lot longer. I've learned a lot of things. Opportunity. I called the owner of the company, and everybody was hating on him. The news was after him. His name was Wright Thurston, and he was one of my heroes. He was the owner of the company that I worked for that helped me to come out of this. And I remember calling him, and we'd become friends, and like I had mad respect. And he'd been getting so much hate. Like, you can imagine, his company just shut down. Everybody that he owes 2,000 people are now like, where's my money? And I understand that. I was owed the most. And I called him, I was like, right, how's your family doing? I can't imagine what you're going through. It's like, for me, I just lost a lot, but like, dude, you just lost your company. Like, how are you doing? And he started just bawling. And like, I can't even try to express like what this was like, but he's like, are you kidding me? Dude, thank you, like, so much. Like, you're like even asking about me? Like, you're like, I'm so sorry. Like, and we're gonna make it right. He wasn't like, he was like, and we're gonna make it right. We're gonna fight. We're gonna get every single penny. And watch over the sequence of the next 4 months, I ended up partnering with him. He'd been a multimillionaire in several different industries. His dad's like been, you might know his dad, Wright Thurston Sr. He wrote, he's written all these real estate books, and he's one of the top guys in Melaleuca. He's just this incredible person. Anyways, right, he ended up saying like, Ben, I'm gonna start a new company called Elevate, and I'm only gonna start it if you come do this with me. And I was just like, holy smokes. I mean, this is a giant of a person. He just had $100 million company that for years I've been like respecting and learning from him, growing. And he wants me to be, out of all the people, he wants me to be his partner in this new venture. And so we went down that road. And the first transition was from $7 to $0, and going into like working in sales and from like on my own, like commission, right? That transition to the Black Widow saying you can't do it. The second was when that fell and I lost that money, that catapulted me into business ownership with one of my heroes. And so we started Elevate, and what we were able to do, because of my reputation in the company, but way more because of his expertise and his knowledge, experience in business, and with all that we partnered, we built this dream team, and we ended up very quickly scaling to 2,000 sales reps all over America selling phone, internet, TV, and security. And we had this vision, right? I had this vision of doing all of it IP-based, through the internet, wireless. And this was back in 2008 when that wasn't a thing. And it was starting to, at First Line, we shot bullets at voice over IP. We sold some voice over IP with our security. And so we took this and we started building out IP TV. And it wasn't a thing in America, but it was a thing out of States. And IP TV, voice over IP, alarm.com, internet through alarm, doing your alarm back when doing this bundle, phone, internet, TV, and security. So we did that, we started scaling, we started growing, we started selling the lights out of it, 2008. At the same time, the market goes down. We had $5 million in funding lined up, that was dried up, but we're like, who cares, we'll sell our way out of it, which we did. We sold our ways out of it. And through ups and downs, we ended up taking our company public. I mentioned that, we took Elevate public. And at that point, I made $6.8 million the day we went public from my share. And I'm just like looking back, I'm just like, wow, like the opportunity that happens when things fall all over, they fall like out of the sky and everything's wrecked. Every failure brings with it the tiny seed. Now it's a seed for a reason. It's a seed because a seed needs what?
Water.
It needs water, what else? Nutrients. What else?
Sun.
Right, all these elements, right? And so there's like this potential power. And so I learned this not of myself. This is in zero way of like, oh, this is like standing on the shoulders of giants, of these people who've been through and have been wrecked. People that stories that you shared, things that you've experienced, like those are the things that like if we mine it for gold, man, that seed can grow. And so within 5 years of doing that business, it was the ups and the downs, and bottom line, at the end of the day, after all things said and done, for that business, like I take full responsibility. I drove that business into the ground. And those are lots of stories and lessons, so many lessons. I'll give you one right now, just quickly. Like the main thing in business is to keep the main thing, right? Like what we found ourselves doing is we had this pipeline, this magic pipeline into the customers, into the home. And guess what we started to do? Oh, let's do this. And like, not only phone, not only internet, not only TV, not security, but like GPS fits perfectly with that. And we had people throwing money at us like, here, you sell our GPS product and we'll bundle that in, and hey, we already have the natural pipeline, so we'll own the customer. And then all of a sudden, we started like doing this, and our operations started, the foundation of our operations started getting diluted. It started being like, we took on more than we could chew, and even taking the company public, which was a blessing with funding, but it ended up being a curse in dilution of time, energy, efforts, and resources. And so we found ourselves, like I wake up in the morning, it's like 50 different priorities. And so we were like bringing on all these different experts and different things, and it was like we had this vision, and we put ourselves in our own peril. by taking our eye off the ball. I learned this in baseball, but obviously not very well. That like the ball's coming at you, and you gotta like watch the ball hit the bat, and that's key. And we ended up firing cannonballs. Like one of a success principle, key principle that I've learned through all this is that you want to shoot bullets, like small bullets of time, energy, efforts, resource, little bullets. If you're going to try to sink a battleship, little bullets, calibrate those bullets. Miss. Okay, no big deal. It's just like a little bit of resources. Miss. Okay, miss. Stink. Ah. Stink. 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 Okay, now we calibrated it. Now we know the coordinates, and now we can deploy the cannonball. But what we did was we deployed cannonballs that were uncalibrated, took our eye off the ball, put the cart before the horse, and we sunk our own battleship. So to close out, so those are two transitions from $7 to zero, right? To direct sales that I wanted to share with you. Then from losing $250,000 at 26 to then partnering with one of my heroes, that transition. The third one is